What up though, YouTube, man? I'm gonna make this real quick. Try to make it as short as possible and very simple. Roll Running J back with a video, man. 9-month review video from Maverick Transportation. Got my notes here. I had to move my truck, so I was like, why not pick up the camera, man, make this video real quick. Probably be like a 30-minute video. I still gotta edit it, so it'll probably be out Super Bowl day, Super Bowl morning, something like that. Yeah, man, let's jump right into it. So what has life been like on this dedicated account at Maverick Transportation? I got into the dedicated account at Maverick after my 6 months were up because I was having another baby and I wanted to be closer to home. So the account that I'm on, it runs from Blytheville, and they're home, guaranteed home, every Friday. I couldn't get on the home daily account, so I chose this one, and you know, it's been all right. I love the dedicated account, but you know, the pay is not. They were right when I first came to Maverick. They told me that you'll make slightly or maybe significantly less, you know, doing dedicated than regional Midwest, and they were right. I'm gonna upload some pictures of my check stubs and show y'all, you know, what the pay has been like on this dedicated account. I have not been seeing a guaranteed weekly amount of, I think it's $1,200 or $1,100. Every now and then, like once or twice a month, my check would be $1,200. But you know, and the miles do matter on this dedicated account. You know, and I do want to point this out. My experience is just my experience. You know, I'm just showing y'all what it's like for me. You know, it could be a whole lot different for y'all. You know, I have a great fleet manager. You know, she gives me the option sometime to pick my load. She asks me, you know, would I rather go to Chicago or would I rather go to Tulsa, Oklahoma or Texas? You know, she gives me those options to, you know, kind of pick my load. So I like that. And, you know, just my experience is my experience. You know, yours could be a whole lot different. So take that with a grain of salt. You know, use it to the best of your ability. In my opinion, I wouldn't do dedicated unless, you know, you don't mind the frequent home time. Because, for example, I get a load picking up out of Blytheville, Arkansas, and then I take it to, let's say, West Point, Georgia, or somewhere in Alabama, which is 3, 4, 5 hours away from my home. I'm passing home, you know, coming from Blytheville, going through Memphis. I'm passing home and then going to deliver on the way back tomorrow, because you always pick up out of Blytheville, not unless you go super far out and they have you bring something back. Like, I only did that one time, and that was out of Ohio. I delivered in Ohio. It's like a 9, 10, 11 hour drive. Delivered in Ohio, and I had to bring something back because it was so far. But that rarely happens. Yeah, what was I saying? I always pick up out of Blytheville, Arkansas, you know, on this dedicated account. There's like 4 different new cores out there that you can pick up steel coils from. I think one just closed down, but there's 3 or 4 of them, you know, that I always pick up out of. And, you know, they're not bad. There's not always long lines. You know, usually I'm there picking up. The only time it's long lines is if it's at night. But I try not to pick up at night due to it being colder at night, longer lines, and I always get stuck with multiple coils at night, so I try to avoid those things. Picking up early in the morning, you beat all that, you know. But yeah, more or less, you always pick up out of Blytheville, Arkansas. So let's say you pick up out of Blytheville and go past home to deliver in somewhere in Alabama, let's say McCalla, Alabama, my last load. And on the way back, like, I had trailer service maintenance to do, all of that. It was on like a Wednesday or Thursday, I believe, and you know, I had time. I had time to park and sleep at home, so that's what I did. That's the extra home time that they mean. What they mean upon these dedicated accounts. So keep that in mind. If you don't mind the extra home time and the lower pay, you know, I would say guaranteed 900 to 1,000 a week. That's warehouse money. It's not enough for me, but I'm still getting my feet wet OTR. You know, so I'm 9 months in. So yeah, man, I learned a lot. But at 6 months, I was ready to make more money and leave Maverick. But I'm gonna stay till my year is up. You know, once my year is up, I can spread my wings, and the opportunities are limitless out there once you get that 1 year OTR experience, you know, because almost every company requires that. But yeah, man, that's just me, my experience. That's why I wouldn't do dedicated accounts, because they pay significantly less. And I'm gonna upload my check stubs probably at the end of this video, some at the beginning of this video, you know, to show y'all what I mean and why. You know, I wouldn't do dedicated, but I had a baby on the way, so I kind of did it just to be closer to home, and it all worked out. You know, my fleet manager was great with that. I took a week off. I used 2.5 of my PTO days. So I think my check for that week was, I uploaded right here, it was 530 something bucks, and you know, that's decent for a week off using my PTO days. I think I had worked one day, I think it was that Monday. You know, I had delivered my load and went home. So, you know, I got paid. I was expecting like $100-$200 check because I didn't work all that week, but you know, 500 is decent for a no work week. If I would have wanted to request off 2 weeks or more, I would have had to turn in my truck, and whenever I came back, I would have had to get a new truck, and it's just too much. I didn't want to do all that. You know, I'm passing through home, so I'm kind of close to home during the pregnancy. So yeah, man, it wasn't nothing to it, man. I just let HR know and my fleet manager that I was having a baby, kept them looped in and communicated with them, let them know when the baby was due, and on the due date, like a day before, I let her know, my fleet manager, and you know, we went from there. You know, I called the HR lady, the number that she gave me, my fleet manager, and told her that, you know, my baby was about to be due, and I'd like to start my week off right now. And whenever I came back, I had to contact that same HR lady and let her know that I was back and ready to work. That way they could reactivate everything. My truck wasn't disabled, I thought it was, but it broke down in a previous video. It wasn't broke down, it just wouldn't start. You know, I had to get it started up, or a jump start from someone. Get somebody to come out, but yeah, man, let's jump into this. So my 9-month review at Maverick Transportation. On this dedicated account, there's, like I said, there's a significantly less pay difference from RMW and this dedicated account that I'm on. You know, the PFP is paid out by the number of loads delivered and not by the miles, but somehow I still find more relevance in the miles on my check, you know, because I crack over 2,000 miles. I'd say 2,200 is very rare on these dedicated accounts, but I crack over that mileage number, and I hit that guarantee number in pay, which is 1,200 bucks or 1,300, one of those two. But I get lower than 2,000 miles, my check is always like, I want to say 1,100, 1,000, because they always text me for like 300 bucks. But like I said, I'm gonna upload my pay stubs at the end of this video. You know, another point I want to mention, you know, you want to learn as you go. Watch other people. Nobody will show you or help you on these dedicated accounts. I learned a lot by watching other people, knowing what to do whenever I pull into a bay, just by watching the person in front of me. For example, I pull into the coal mill, and there's somebody in front of me getting loaded up. The crane operator would drop a coil on their flatbed, they throw their 2 chains, secure it, and pull out. Throw the rest of their chains outside, and tarp it out there. That's usually how it works at every new core that I pick up at. You learn as you go and watch other people. You learn a lot doing that, man. And that's just in trucking in general. You learn what to do and what not to do watching other people. Experience, I'm getting a lot of experience over the road doing this dedicated account. I would recommend this dedicated account to anybody that's new to flatbedding or Maverick in general. TMC, Jordan Carriers, Melton, anybody getting into trucking, I would recommend jumping into a dedicated account first to, learn routes, learn the roads, get your feet wet. Then once you're 3, 4, let's say 6 months in, you could, go OTR, do worldwide. But I would recommend, get that experience first, get your feet wet. Don't worry about the pay, just learn a lot. And I knew this coming into it when I decided to get onto this dedicated account, that the pay wasn't going to be extravagant, because I was told that up front. It was always communicated. But yeah, man, get that experience. Don't really worry about the pay. Your first year of trucking is always going to be, you're always going to get terrible pay your first year of trucking, unless you just come into a great situation, which some people do. But that's not me. It's not my case. Consistency, the consistency on these dedicated accounts is very great. My fleet manager would give me 2 Alabama loads during the week and a Chicago run. Then one more run would be like a Tulsa, Oklahoma. I never drive more than 8 hours. So all my runs I would pick up. I live 2 hours away from Blytheville in Memphis, so I would pick up, I would drive there. You get 11-hour drive clock. I would drive there, pick up. It takes me about an hour to secure and tarp, or 45 minutes, something like that. And depending on how many coils it is. If it's multiple, it takes probably about an hour, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. But I got an 11-hour drive clock. I already burnt out 2 of them hours, so I'm down to 9 hours. By the time I make it to Blytheville, 14-hour clock, I got an hour burnt out on that, just from securing the tarping. And let's say I gotta go to Chicago, I always park an hour outside from where I gotta deliver, because these places typically open up at 6, rarely at 6, but 7 to 8 a.m. Let's say you drive all the way there. It's proper trip planning. You drive all the way there to Chicago, and you're waiting outside, 2 to 3 hours. You're not starting your clock until 7, 8 a.m. until the building opens up. So I always, try to park an hour or 2 outside from where I gotta deliver at, because it just makes it a whole lot easier. I'm able to wake up earlier, beat traffic, beat the police, beat construction. But lately on these dedicated accounts, I've been waking up at 7, 8 a.m. then starting my day, because it doesn't really matter on these dedicated accounts. You're still gonna be waiting for this place to open up. So, there's no rush on this dedicated account. There's no timetable, really. As long as you pick up and deliver when the building opens. These places usually close at 3, 4 p.m. so they stop receiving. So I'm always there early in the morning. But yeah, just the consistency in that, knowing what I'm gonna get, where I'm going. Some of these new cores that I pick up out of in Blytheville, I automatically already know where I'm going, just because I've done it before. Like I said, the consistency is great in these dedicated accounts. Your fleet manager will, communicate that with you. Another point, leaving Sundays doesn't guarantee me a higher check. Love dedicated, just not the money. Like I've been saying since I started this video, I love the dedicated accounts. The consistency, experience I've been getting, just not the money. The money's not there. You know, you might as well work in a warehouse making this type of money, but it's a great experience. I recommend it for all new drivers. And like I said, leaving Sundays doesn't always guarantee me a higher check, mainly because it depends on your load. What gets you those higher checks, you know, like I said, the miles are very relevant to me on these dedicated accounts, because I can pick up a load out of Blytheville going to Chicago, or going to somewhere in Indiana or Kentucky, and you know, that's whatever amount of miles it takes you to get there is the same getting back. Almost, you know, depending on what day it is. If I'm leaving from home, it's like an extra 120 miles or something like that. But usually, like on a Tuesday through Friday, it's usually whatever it takes you to get there in that mileage, it'll always be the same getting back. So say like 300 miles, getting to Tulsa, Oklahoma, 300 miles back. So that's an automatic 600 miles in 2 days. So, you know, leaving Sundays doesn't always guarantee me a higher check. The mileage paid on these dedicated accounts for everyone is 57 cents per mile, not unless you got the experience or you've been at Maverick for a while. But it goes up every 3 months. I think on RMW, I was at 61 cents per mile due to me being here, you know, within that time frame, in 6 months. But on this dedicated account, that's a major reason why, you know, the pay isn't that good. Like I said, take your time, learn. There's lots of free time on this dedicated account. You know, like I said, these places don't open up till 7, 8 a.m. You pick up, your day is done at, depending on what time you pick up, your day is done at like around 5, 6 p.m. You know, if you make a good drive, you get an hour or two out. You know, it gives you free time to go to Walmart, go get something to eat, shower, all that good stuff. You know, I don't really be worried about that. Also, on these dedicated accounts, your clock doesn't really matter, because you're never really driving over 8 hours, so it doesn't really matter. It's always 6, 7 hour drives, and I park an hour out, so it's 5 hours. So clocks really don't matter. Wake up early and park early. Like I said, clocks doesn't matter on these dedicated accounts. Miles does make a difference. I already mentioned that. Like I said, don't get into dedicated unless you don't mind the pay and being home often. Some people do. Some older people like being home often. But eventually that pay will start to affect them. Dedicated account routes are boring. You know, you won't really see much. You won't really see much of the world because, you know, you're constantly doing the same routes weekly, you know, but they are boring, very boring. As you can see in my past videos since I joined this account, you know, you see more, not saying rollovers and wrecks and explosions and all that is entertaining, but masses do be wanting to see that, you know. And I don't wish that on nobody, but it happens. Trucks and ditches and stuff like that. I see a lot less of that doing this dedicated account, but I try to catch whatever I can, man. Recording and editing is another job. I'm trying to stay consistent and make it more entertaining. Like I said, these routes are boring, so it's hard to make it entertaining on these dedicated accounts. You know, and that's a whole nother job as well. I'm not getting paid to record and edit. I do it for the people that have questions, you know, regarding truck driving, flatbedding, and Maverick transportation. Like I did before coming to Maverick. Questions that experienced drivers couldn't answer, either, you know, the people in Maverick that train, that don't drive trucks, couldn't really answer for me because they're not out here driving. So, you know, that's a whole nother job as well. I'm trying to stay consistent. Only time I fall off is whenever I get sick or whenever my baby was about to be born. You know, I kind of fell off during that time, but I'm back, man. I try to stay consistent as I can, you know. and whatever money or however YouTube sees or whatever ads I get from this, hey man, I feel like I deserve it, but I'm not really, reaching or looking to, get all that. It's not, like I said, that's not why I got into it. But also, my fleet manager picks my loads, gives me the options, like I said earlier. Sorry, somebody just texted me. Fleet manager picks my loads, gives me options, and hey, when Bob tells, man, look at this. Hey, when Bob tells take up parking spots, man. When they can just park in the front with the regular cars or in gas stations nearby, they always take up parts of these or spots at these truck stops. But anyway, like I was saying, fleet manager picks my loads, gives me the options. Like I was saying earlier, she may have 5 different loads on her board that she was given, like a Texas run, Tulsa, Oklahoma run, a Chicago run, an Indiana or Kentucky run. She may ask me which one do I feel comfortable doing, and I will, tell her. It's like in my last video, I asked my fleet manager, she was out of office, but someone was covering for her. I told her I want to pick up Monday, Super Bowl weekend and everything. And they're always cool about that, just communicate with them. But I told her I wanted to pick up Monday, and she gave me 3 options. She said I got a Kansas run, New Century, Kansas. That's the one I picked. It's the most miles. It's like an 8-hour drive. I think I've been there before, Middle West. But New Century, Kansas. She said she had a Tulsa, Oklahoma. I get tired of that Tulsa run, man. I made that so many times. I want to see things different. And the other run, I forget where that was at. It wasn't nowhere in the Midwest. I forget where it was at, but I chose the New Century, Kansas. So you get that leeway of picking your own load sometimes, depending on who your fleet manager is and how cool they are. No weigh stations. I don't really stop at weigh stations. I always get the green light telling me to go, to keep going, keep driving. So on these dedicated accounts, we rarely stop at weigh stations. There's only the select few coming in and coming out of Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma that almost every trucker is required to stop at. But if it has a long line almost to the street, I don't stop. I keep going, even if it tells me to stop, So no weigh stations really. Blue Beacon, I prefer to get my truck washed at Blue Beacons. They just changed it here at Maverick. It's every 14 days now. You can get a truck wash, but once you get to 22 days, you'll start to get the message from your fleet manager at Maverick telling you to get a truck wash. You're overdue for it. But I try to get one every 2 weeks, which is 14 days. I always go to Blue Beacon because Maverick, their shops at the terminals take too long to, wash your truck, their wash bays. Blue Beacon is always 15 minutes, you're in and out, depending on how long the line is. If the line is long, I just come back another day. But yeah, I like Blue Beacon. And like I was saying, I really don't got much this video. I'm glad it's short. This is just my experience, man, on this dedicated account. Yours could be a lot different. Don't dictate your experience based on mine. You could come to Maverick and get on a whole different dedicated account than the one I'm on. You could get the home daily account that I was trying to get on, but I'm on the one that's home weekly, guaranteed home Fridays. I do plan on going back to RMW. Like my last month at Maverick, I do plan on leaving Maverick. The money in RMW, I was seeing 12 to 1300 guaranteed, and if I were to get stuck out till Saturday, my checks would be 17, 1800 bucks. But it's weird because every time I asked to stay out, my checks were still 12 to 1300. But whenever I would get randomly stuck out when I wasn't trying to, that's when my checks were the highest. That's trucking, man. It's the way it works, and it's weird. But yeah, man, I do plan on going back to RMW my last month of truck driving with Maverick. I do plan on leaving and elevating from Maverick to, let's say, maybe tanker or hazmat or car hauling, which I'm looking into now since it's my last 3 months. There's just more money out there, man, more opportunities, better pay once you get that 1 year in over the road, you know. And there's a big physical demand in flatbedding. I wouldn't do flatbedding if I were a female because of the physical demands of it. And, you know, not saying I'm lazy or not willing to put in the work, because y'all see my videos, man. I put in the work and I like it, but it's not something I want to do long term. I don't want to do reefer or driving. That's like bottom of the barrel, which there are some people making money in that, you know, but you got to have a lot of experience to do that. And the top two that pay the most are tanker and hazmat and, you know, car hauling. I think car hauling pays the most, but it's a lot of requirements, a lot of hula hoops I got to go through to meet those requirements for the companies that I'm trying to work for within those two trucking industries, within trucking. So, yeah, man, Maverick has been great to me. I don't have any complaints, anything bad to say about Maverick, about my routes, about my fleet manager, about this dedicated account besides the pay. But that's everywhere, man. There's always going to be a disgruntled employee complaining about the pay, man. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend anybody to do dedicated not unless you have a baby on the way, a family problem, personal reasons or issues. You know, or unless you want to be closer to home. If you're that older guy, it's not wanting to do that work anymore, pick up those lumber tarps or steel tarps. You want to be home more, guaranteed $1,000 a week, driving over the road. Dedicated accounts are for you, man. And that's another thing on dedicated accounts. We don't really deal with lumber. We don't at all. I'm literally just picking up steel coils, as you can see in my previous videos. I'm dealing with one steel tarp, you know, because I'm never picking up more than 6 or 7 coils, really 6, you know. There's a weight limit, which is 48,000, so one steel tarp covers that, you know. So yeah, man, don't do dedicated unless you're getting into it for those reasons. But excuse me. Yeah, man, I'm gonna upload my check stubs right here from my lowest to highest while doing this dedicated account. That's great, man. This video gonna end up being 30 minutes long, 28, 29 minutes, but yeah, man, I'm gonna upload my check stubs right here. One should have been at the beginning of this video. And yeah, man, like, subscribe, comment, share. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate the likers, subscribers, and commenters. You know, help me get into that YouTube algorithm, man, and so that way we can grow from here, man. You know, I don't plan on being in flatbed forever, but I want y'all to grow with me, man, as I elevate in this trucking industry. You know, showing y'all what it's like and showing y'all how to make more money out here, man. You know, don't be stagnant, don't be lazy, man. I want to see everybody win, man. Everybody get rich, you know, and there's ways to do it within this trucking industry. I've seen it. I've seen people make 500K, grossed $1 million, made 500K, you know. And I don't want to go back to a warehouse job, retail store, anything like this. Like I said, I'm aiming up from here, man. Yeah, man, like, subscribe, comment, share. I appreciate y'all, man. I really do. And y'all motivate me to keep going, man. Till then, I'm out, man.